Hello from Movie Crusaders and welcome to our latest episode. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're reviewing one of these films that I have been excited for since I heard of what it was about, and that is Apple TV's Spirited. This is a movie that kind of came out of left field. It was a movie that wasn't really, until the first trailers came out, wasn't really being talked about. But for fans of Ryan Reynolds, like myself, you heard little grumblings of a musical, story, musical of him with Will Ferrell. And right there, it kind of just made you go, wait, what? And basically get excited for it. Now, the whole Christmas Carol story is rather overdone, and I've never been the biggest fan of it outside of maybe Bill Murray's Scrooge, and even then it's kind of okay, if that. But throwing in a musical with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, which I've never heard Ryan Reynolds sing before, ever, where we have heard Will Ferrell sing multiple times, definitely left me intriguing enough to want to check this out. It being on Apple TV kind of hurt, because I think that with those two guys leading the way, I think a theatrical release probably would have been really, really helpful for them, and probably very good money. But nonetheless, this was a movie that I was incredibly excited to see based off of the two leads, and the Christmas Carol part of it, I could take it or leave it. It's directed by Sean Anders, and I believe it also has the people who did the music for The Greatest Showman and the choreography for La La Land. And you definitely can hear that in the music of Spirited. There are definitely times in the movie where I'm hearing certain beats, and it definitely gave me flashbacks to The Greatest Showman. Now, I will say this, the music of Spirited, while catchy and while very well done, did not reach the heights of how great The Greatest Showman's music was, which was kind of a lightning in a bottle moment in terms of musicals. But the music is very, very sound. For me, Spirited really relies on the leads. Will Ferrell, who plays Ghost of Christmas Present, and then Ryan Reynolds, who plays Clint Briggs, who is the Scrooge of the story. And the general plot of it, outside of it just being Christmas Carol, and how they're doing a unique take on this, is that we're basically following, Will Ferrell's present character, and he kind of is a part of this organization of spirits who each pick a Scrooge of the year, and then every Christmas basically try to make them a better person. We see them kind of do that with a special cameo at the beginning of the film with a character, and then they basically, put their eyes on Clint Briggs, who is basically unredeemable as a character, but present. Will Ferrell, I'm just going to call him Present from now on, basically sees a lot of his past lives in Clint and wants to strive to make him redeemable instead of unredeemable. Other casts, you have Octavia Spencer, who plays Kimberly, who is Clint's assistant, who kind of helps him with his job, which Clint is basically this PR guy who basically tries to spur rumors in order to entice popularity and money flow and stuff for like politicians and actors and all that kind of stuff. You got Marley, played by Patrick Page. He's kind of the main guy who runs the spirit place. He's kind of, Present's boss. You got Santi Mana, probably said that wrong, I apologize. She plays Past. You also got Tracy Morgan and Lauren G. Woods. They both play Christmas Yet to Come. Tracy Morgan does the voice. Lauren G. Woods does the body of that. Marlo Barkley plays Clint's niece, which we'll be talking about her in another video here shortly, because she had 2 movies come out this week. Same thing with Amy Carrero, who plays Nora. She popped up. She was also in The Menu. So we got a few people who had movies come out that I'm just talking about this weekend. So solid cast all the way throughout. Everyone, I think, does a very solid job. Even Tracy Morgan, who I'm not the greatest fan of, he definitely had some funny moments throughout. What makes Spirited work is that, yes, it takes the Christmas Carol story, which I've said this on my show many, many times. You can take a formula like Christmas Carol or the Freaky Friday or the Groundhog Day, something that we have seen many, many times before. And you can either just do a rehash remake that is paint by the numbers, 100% what that film's going to do, and it might work, or it might be good, or you could take this very, very tired genre or tired plot that we've seen many times before, and you can try to be inventive with it. You can try to be different with it, and you can try to do something that we haven't seen before. And that is what Spirited does. While it follows the path of A Christmas Carol, it actually has a lot of twists and turns throughout this film that left me with my mouth open, kind of shocked that they went this one route. There are certain reveals that happen throughout the film that I did not think they were going to go that route, or added more layers of character to this. You have Clint Briggs, who you can just look at as, okay, he's the Scrooge of present day, you know, tra-la-la, that's it. But there's so much more layers to the Clint character that actually kind of shows more, and it's because it's Ryan Reynolds. He's so charismatic. You have to agree that he's a horrible person, but you still have to like him because it's Ryan Reynolds. Will Ferrell's present. There's so many layers to this character that you get unfolded throughout the film that adds so much more to his character, that adds so much life to the character and stakes for the characters as well. And throughout the film, that is what drives you through the story. You're like, yes, it follows the beats of A Christmas Carol, but it does not feel like a same old Christmas Carol story. It feels like its own kind of film and its own kind of story, and has connective tissues throughout that makes this unique, makes it fun. The choreography is fun. It's fun watching Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds dance and sing, which Ryan Reynolds is not a bad singer, by the way. Same thing with Octavia Spencer. The music is solid throughout. There's one particular song in the middle of the film called Good Afternoon, which I will be using that a whole different way now, and I love it, by the way. That is basically what kind of rises everything up. The first 20 minutes, I will say, is kind of your paint by numbers because they're setting up the chess pieces for the story itself. But once we get into the actual haunting of Clint, that is when the movie really takes off into the stratosphere and really kind of does something that I wasn't expecting it to be. Spirited is one of my favorite films of the year. It's one of my best films that I watched. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I was smiling the whole way watching this movie. I was laughing. I was having fun with the music. I was having fun with these characters. And through the twists and turns and the reveals that we get throughout this story, by the end of it, all I wanted to do was start it over and watch it again. And that is something that, especially with a Christmas movie, is so hard to come by nowadays because you have your paint-by-numbers Christmas films, and they're either good or they're okay, but you never usually really want to just pop it back in and rewatch it again and again. And with Spirited, I have wanted to watch this movie almost every day since I have seen it. I've fought myself because I've just been busy doing everything else not to do so. But this is definitely a movie that I see myself watching every year now for Christmas. This is going to be a mainstay in my house to watch every Christmas. Ryan Reynolds is fantastic as Clint. I mean, he's basically playing Ryan Reynolds, which if you love Ryan Reynolds, you'll love his performance here. Will Ferrell, what I love about Will Ferrell is that, yes, he can go very crazy with the comedy, and he can be very over the top with his comedy. But when you actually give him some dramatic stuff to do, and you actually give him a dramatic character, such like Stranger Than Fiction, he shows his acting chops incredibly well. And you also have to be able to corral Will Ferrell so he doesn't go over the top with his antics. And there's maybe one or two moments where he goes a little too far, but for the most part, Will Ferrell keeps everything contained and puts on a very nuanced role and a very incredible role for Will Ferrell that I enjoyed watching him on screen, especially opposite Ryan Reynolds. Octavia Spencer, once again, also great. Patrick Page, I thought was really good. The whole cast as a whole is great, and I had a blast watching Spirited. And I think anyone who has reservations about not wanting to see this because they don't want to see A Christmas Carol story redone again, or they're not a fan of Will Ferrell or Ryan Reynolds, which, what's wrong with you if you're not a fan of Ryan Reynolds? Put that aside and just watch Spirited. You won't be disappointed. It is a fun ride, fun music, funny laughs, great performances throughout. Choreography is solid throughout as well, and it visually looks great. There are so many parts of this movie, especially during the numbers, that they do certain things that visually looks astounding, especially in the final song at the end of the movie. It's a great film. I had a blast watching this. It blew me away in terms of what I was expecting, and I cannot wait to sit down and watch it many, many more times for years to come. So for me, I'm going to give Spirited I believe it was a 92%, one of my highest rated scores of the year. Could not recommend this more. Definitely, if you have Apple TV, go out of your way to check this out. If you did not like it, I would love to know why, because this movie was so much fun to watch. And yeah, check it out, have fun, and good afternoon to the people who didn't like Spirited. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, look to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we got reviews for Disenchanted, Slumberland, Christmas with You, and The People We Hate at the Wedding. We also have reviews for The Menu, and we got many, many more reviews coming out because there's a lot of movies that have come out here in the last month. So whenever I see them and get time to hop on here and talk to you guys, I will definitely do that. Brian Michaels and myself will be back to be doing a new show, basically where we are going over each phase of the MCU, talking about our favorite moments, our favorite performances, our rankings of the MCU films, and going through all of that. So we got plenty of videos coming here the next month, so be on the lookout for all that. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.